7:08, 8 past 7. 52 minutes until the end of the hour, which would make it 8 o'clock, and Paul Bryan will be here with Drive Chicago. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to have Les Gold from Hardcore Pawn, friend of the show. Now in its sixth season, we had him on when he was first starting out, and he very successful show. I love the end of the year for some things, and some things I don't. You read a lot of stories, the best this and best TV, movies, and some whatever, things that have happened. But there's a list that caught my eye. And one of the major newspapers put together a story about hospital emergency rooms for the year 2012. And they looked through stories from throughout the country, and they came up with a list of, you talk about lost and found, a list of things that when people went to the emergency room, the doctors had to remove from various parts of people's bodies. For example, I will just give you the ear to give you an idea. Now, people put stuff in their ears, I know, trying to clean out their ears, and you got to be very careful. You don't want to puncture an eardrum, but some of the things that were found in people's ears throughout the country this past year, they found a key, a button, hot wax. What is hot wax doing in somebody's ear? I don't understand that. Wouldn't that hurt? Plastic dart, a piece of paper, a toothpick. Why would you put a toothpick in your ear? It's dangerous. They found a screwdriver, plastic drinking straw, an eraser, a fly. Now that could be bad. If a fly goes in your ear and he's flying around, because that's what flies do, that's why they're called flies. A rubber band and a knife. Very strange. And then you've got the nose. A Dixie cup, a hair barrette, 2 kitchen magnets in each nostril. Who gets up in the morning and says, you know what? When they go to the refrigerator to get milk for their cereal, decides, you know what? I'm going to leave the milk in there today. I'm just going to grab a couple of these kitchen magnets and put them in my nose. Who decides that? A coloring pencil, a nickel, some sort of small toy, a pickup stick, a screw, a sticker, a battery, and popcorn. All right. Now, moving south in the body, I'm not going to give you the exact body parts and say male or female, but some of the things they pulled out: a checker, a thumbtack, a butterfly, and you can try to figure these out for yourself. A keychain ring, a model toy airplane. How does the model toy airplane get wherever it got? There was, remember the Seinfeld episode, Fusilli Jerry, when Kramer made the pasta in the shape of Jerry Seinfeld, and then George's father fell on it? Remember, 1 in a million? Moving on down the list of things that were extracted, ornament, a piece of timber, bedpost, toy microphone stand, hairspray cap, my favorite, French bread. A loofah with the suction cup with the hook attached. I don't understand it. Do not understand it. But that's the fun of a hospital emergency room. Lou in Round Lake. Good morning, Lou.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Were these all found during a TSA search at the O'Hare Airport?
They could have been.
You know, a real close search, you know? I mean, I'm starting to think that a lot of politicians have buttons in their ears. Or maybe they have bolts in their neck. I don't know.
I don't know what they have.
You know, I've been trying to figure this out because, you know, it makes people like you in the news business ultra cynical because you can't understand why these people think a certain way. But it's probably because there's something in there. So maybe we should put all the politicians through a real close TSA search. You know, body cavities, etc.
You know what? I've said that years ago that if the politicians had to go through the same stuff the general public does, there'd be a lot of changes made. In fact, the one senator from Kentucky, Rand Paul, I know he feuds all the time with TSA over what they do.
Well, and I think that all politician offices and their whole thing should be gun-free zones. No bodyguards. No nothing.
By the way, State Senator Donnie Trotter, who is going to run in the 2nd District for Jesse Jackson Jr.'s seat, I heard he's going to announce today that he's not running.
What was he trying to carry through, an AK-47 fully automatic?
No, it was a 25.
Oh, I think it's something bigger, you know. By the way, have you tried to buy a gun anywhere?
No.
They're all off the shelves. They're gone. It's been such a run on the things. I didn't think that it was such a full employment plan for Smith & Wesson. I just don't understand it.
I don't either, but I know gun sales are up. People are buying like crazy.
Now, if they go to confiscate it all, that should be fun. Now, are you going to find them in people's ears as they try to hide them?
Probably, Lou. Thank you very much. Bye. Speaking of going door to door, I got a copy of a sheriff's report from Florida. This thing has got to be the funniest thing I've ever read. It was from the other day. This officer, I think it was in Jacksonville, he was assigned to go to this property where they said there was an injured person on the scene, and he had to meet the local fire people there. And this, I'm going to read exactly from his report. He says, upon arrival, I hastened to the front door of the manufactured home in an attempt to locate the injured person, all in hopes of providing assistance or at least some comfort in a potentially difficult and painful situation. As I made my swift trajectory out of my JSO patrol vehicle towards the front door, I was met by numerous individuals, later identified as family and friends of the victim, all bellowing, "He's in there, officer," and "Hurry, help, he's in there." These chants of concern by loved ones only fueled my already eager appetite to serve. I bounded up the small wooden stairs, shot across the decking, giving the appearance of winged flight, and then rushed inside of the manufactured home, darting and dashing around a Christmas tree and other festive holiday gaieties, relentlessly reeling towards the kitchen. Upon reaching the entrance to the kitchen, I stood in utter awe. No one was more surprised than I when I found Mr. Lawrence P. Johnson, who was the victim, intoxicated, dancing and singing loudly off-key to the Dire Straits song, "Money for Nothing." Yes. As I was perplexed at the possibility that this whirling dervish in front of me could possibly be the same injured person I was called to aid, I instantly queried those around me, and once again I was assured that Mr. Johnson was in fact one and the same as the injured person in question. Since the JFRD had not yet arrived on scene, I beseech Mr. Johnson to please be seated so that I could assess the situation and his potential wounds. Mr. Johnson reticently granted my wishes, and I was shocked and surprised to find that his left arm, just below the elbow, had a rather large laceration and blood was oozing forthwith. A closer examination of Mr. Johnson's forearm, though I am no medical doctor, revealed a tendon dangling from the open wound and the bone clearly visible inside of the blood oozing wound. Wow. Then it goes on from there. Says, through the course of the next few minutes, as I was trying to persuade Mr. Johnson to keep direct pressure on the wound, he would arbitrarily return to the aforementioned Dire Straits ballad and attempt to meander off in the house of dance while crooning, now look at them yo-yos, that's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV, that ain't working, that's the way you do it. Money for nothing, chicks for free. God. He's got his bone dangling, the tendon's bad, and he's singing. Alcohol will do that to you. He says he was leaving. He said, I could once in the background hear the melodic vocal of the Dire Straits tune, only slightly subdued by the overpowering bells of an intoxicated Mr. Johnson's Money for Nothing. And it goes on from there with some other stuff. And then there's this guy. This guy, I think, wants to be a writer. This police officer. He really spent a lot of time putting this report together. It's very funny stuff. There's more to it. Anyway, 7:19. Back after this.
89.